Hello and welcome to the Book by Book, a podcast about the odd book or two we've read. I'm your host Scott and I'm not alone. Tobie's here too. This episode, we're making our way through a pick-a-plot book, You Are Alice in Wonderland's Mum, written and illustrated by Sherwin Tjia. It's obviously spoiler heavy, so if that's okay with you, continue on and I'll see you on the other side.
Hello, Tobie.
Hello, Scott. How the devil are you, sir?
Not too shabby, a little hungover.
Oof, hungover.
A little, it was not a particularly heavy one, but I think strong cocktails.
Okay, yeah, they'll do it.
The few, but the strong.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to try and drink some water.
I was, just previous to coming on here, I was waiting for your email to drop in to say, hey, come and join this meeting. And I was watching a Mr. Beast YouTube video.
Okay, I know who he is.
8 years ago, when he was like no subscribers, or he had 1,000 subscribers and 1 million views, and like a message to himself. 5 years from now, this is how I see myself, blah, 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 and I would like 1 billion subscribers. He had 1,000 at that point.
Oh,
how on earth? So, Scott, listeners, friends of listeners, the world, like and subscribe to this wonderful podcast that we've been putting together now for 2 years, 3 years? 3 years.
Come January, it'll be 3 years. But
3 years in January.
It's August now, listeners. Date recording.
Yeah. We have a core following of 30 at the moment, so a little bit behind the 1,000 that Mr. Beast had at that point in time. But in 5 years' time, if Scott comes back safely from his jaunt across Switzerland, Sweden, one of the countries beginning in S, please, universe, and everyone that's listening, tell your friends, tell the people that inhabit you, universe, to like and subscribe to this wonderful podcast. And let's see if we can get 1 billion subscribers in 5 years' time.
Yeah, I was going to say, in 5 years' time, I would hope to have 32 listeners. I don't think it's too much to ask.
You know what's going to happen? 5 years' time, we'll have 31 or we'll have less.
Or it'll be like, you wanted 32, here's 32.
So today we are coming at you with what will become a more frequent occurrence, I like to think, because I really enjoy doing these. They're thoroughly great.
You've sort of been doing them as specials, like a Christmas special or a summer special.
Or a mid-season special, as we call this one.
But I can't find the little ones. So you've got two options. We've already done this, sort of, Into the Dungeon. It was quite fun.
Yes.
But I thought we could do it with another character and rinse it. There's like 4 different characters with 4 sets.
Yeah. Have we got what's the other option?
You Are Alice in Wonderland's Mum.
Yes.
Yeah, you want to hit it?
Yes, I want to be Alice in Wonderland's mum. That sounds great.
There we go. Tobie, we're doing a choose your own adventure, or in this case, this brand is Pick a Plot book, and it's called You Are Alice in Wonderland's Mum.
Written
and illustrated by Sherwin Tjia.
Perfect. That sounds straight up my alley. Talking about up my alley, do you think choose your own adventure books could work in a sort of romantic love-esque way? So you choose your own relationship book.
Yeah.
In which you have multiple people that a narrative unfolds, and then you get to choose what sexual positions you embark on. Do you want to be
like raunchy, you mean?
Raunchy, yeah, like a tepid,
I was going to say
vanilla style, but hence the alley.
Yeah, there's probably I mean, in this day and age, Tobie, there's a market for everything.
Everything, yes. Does it exist? Why haven't we done one? And
choose your own one. Porno.
Choose your own. Basically,
I guess not porno, but
choose your own Norwegian wood style.
What's the word? Is it titillation?
Yeah,
literature. What was it? Is it Alan Moore was talking? He did some really raunchy comics, and he was saying like the difference between, what's the word he used? I don't think it was titillation, but it was like a porno.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it's the best talk for the opening for You Are Alice in Wonderland's mum. They're normally quite kid friendly.
Hey.
But a porno, it's there to get you off. It's one story.
Right.
That's why it doesn't really have a story, or if it does,
Yeah.
Whereas titillation, I think, what's the word he kept using? I don't think it's titillation, but anyway, it was like it's not edging, but it's more like the story comes first. Yeah, just about.
Yeah. Completely. Okay, well, let's go down that rabbit hole another day.
Yeah, you think we'll do a side?
Yeah.
You'll have to create one, and then we'll have to sort of
oh gosh,
live it.
Maybe I reckon I could probably write a good literature novel. Have
you heard of the podcast My Dad Wrote a Porno? Are we going on that levels?
No, I don't reckon I could write a porno, but
okay. Have you heard of that one?
I could definitely write a romantic novel.
It's like
choose
this guy just found out his dad wrote an erotica. That's the word I was looking for.
Erotica, yes.
This guy just finds out his dad wrote an erotica novel, like in the last few years, and with permission, reads it out chapter by chapter with his friends. It's pretty funny. Obviously, it just, I don't know, not miscast, but like just sort of tacky, terrible, but hilariously so bad it's good. But as a result of the podcast, it was like #1 podcast for a few years. It's sort of sold massive. It's got like its own HBO TV show. Not the actual podcast has a TV show, not the novelization.
You've got to look at what's going on with the AI bots and things like that. Not the AI bots, the women that are pretending to be NPCs at the moment.
Oh, what's that?
No, you don't.
Is it like computers luring in men, or men choosing to just have an artificial girlfriend?
It's men paying women to not even reenact, reenact the emojis that go up the side of the screen. You must have seen it.
Oh, maybe I've seen it, but I didn't realize what I was watching.
It's just basically a woman pretending to be a non-player character or AI bot, dressed in basically nothing, or as an elf or something like that, and just doing repetitive emoji actions.
I guess it is a niche.
£7,000 a day.
Oh wow!
That's how much she's making. This one particular one that's doing the rounds at the moment. And
is it explicit or it's sort of cheeky?
No, she just literally sits there and goes, gang, popcorn, grab. Oh. For hours.
Nice. I've got myself into like a dirty mindset now. I don't know if it's right for Alice in Wonderland's mum.
It's right. Let's go.
Tobie, are you comfortable? Because it's a bit of it's about 7 pages intro. I think after that it strips down to 1. So
I shall sit back and
see what Sherwin Tjia has to offer. Leaning back in your chair, you consider the list of names in front of you. You've been at it all evening and you think finally you have a manageable list of 10 to 15 children. You wonder if anyone's missing. I think I have it, you murmur to yourself. Reg looks up from his paper he's reading, cocking an eyebrow. Alice's birthday party tomorrow, you explain, putting down your fountain pen on your blotter pad. Oh, quite right, your husband says, turning back to his paper. He strikes another match and relights his pipe, taking a long draw before exhaling, smoking through his nostrils. Outside, another London rainstorm batters the windows, the sound of the drops against the panes mingling with the crackling fireplace. You take another look at the list. One name nags at you. Esther Prout. The Prout girl's father, a watchmaker, was recently jailed for unpaid gambling debts. The family was forced to take in a gentleman lodger for the extra income. It would be an undue burden to invite her to Alice's party, as it would be unseemly for her to appear without a gift. You suppose they could always not RSVP, but why put her in the most embarrassing position in the first place? Ooh, drama. You raise your pen to strike her name from the list, then you reconsider. You sigh. It might even be more embarrassing for Esther not to be invited. On the ornate Persian rug in front of the hearth, you watch as Dina uncurls, stretches to her full length, and readjusts her position, exposing her cool side to the heat. She gazes at you for a moment through half-closed eyes, and not for the first time, you wish you were a cat. Ooh, foreboding.
Foreboding, Cheshire.
Maggie pokes her head into the parlour. Girls, we're all tucked in, ma'am, she says gently, if there's naught else. Reg, you look to your husband. No, he says, that's all, Maggie. The housemaid nods and disappears, leaving your list at the writing table. You wander upstairs, first looking into your eldest, Lorna, who is already pretending to be slumbering. Fine, you'll humour her later, not saying anything to prompt a response. Nevertheless, you give her a kiss on the cheek and squeeze on the shoulder before you leave. Across the hall, you go to Alice's room. She is reading a picture book with the oil lamp still lit. You should be asleep, young lady. Mummy, give me a story. You shake your head. Tomorrow's wash day, you remind her, taking her book. Get to sleep. Alice pouts. I hate wash day. You laugh. Everyone hates wash day, yet it must be done. I want a story, Alice repeats. Don't fuss, you say, blowing out the lamp wick. Tomorrow, I promise. With her hands to her chest, Alice makes a heart symbol with her fingers and thumb. Good night, Mummy.
Good night.
The first thing you feel, even before you open your eyes, is Reg's soft mutton chops against your lips. Then it's his mouth kissing you. Oh, a kiss. You squint into the bright morning light. You must have forgotten to draw the drapes last night. Fancy a tussle, Reg whispers in your ear, his hands on his hips. You're joking. No jest. Reggie grins, moving his hand up your belly. Gently, wow, Tobie, you're sort of spot on. It's a bit more raunchy than I might have thought.
Easy, Reg, easy, but early.
Gently, you push your husband away. It's wash day, you say. Reggie chuckles, a deep rumble you've always loved. Let Maggie do it. Maggie does do it, but she can't very well do it alone, can she? Why must you insist on aiding her? After all, what are servants for? If not, I can't help it, you mutter. It's the farm girl in me. I'd like to see a little more of that farm girl. You give your husband a reluctant smile, but no further encouragement. I know, he says with a final kiss. He gets up and pads over to the washstand. It's high time I was getting to Christchurch anyway. As your husband gets dressed, you peer out the window. It's an absolutely stunning day. Sunlight rakes into the room, warming it. You sigh. After what must have been a week of rain, to be rewarded with this, but on wash day, it's the irony of ironies. Once Reg is off, you wash yourself, updo your hair, then get dressed. Maggie has already got morning tea started, as well as the children up. You make your way downstairs and warm your hands with a cup of orange pokey. What's that? Do you know what that is? You're a tea drinker. Is that tea?
No, an orange pekoe.
Pekoe. Maybe it's just an antiquated term from cup.
Pekoe.
Gnawing on a biscuit. Wash day is always the worst. It takes over the entire kitchen and scullery. You boil a lot of water, do a lot of heavy lifting, and rub your fingers raw, scrubbing all the sheets and linens and clothing from the week. Your arms will ache for the next couple of days at the very least. Already the kitchen is humid and the floors wet underfoot. That's when you notice Lorna and Alice aren't dressed for wash day, but for an outing. What's all this then? You stare at your daughter in the frocks and petticoats. You glance over at Maggie for an explanation. I'm sorry, Mum, she says, shaking her head. The young mistress insisted. Lorna and Alice stand together. It's clear that they plan this united front. Mum, Lorna says imploringly, it's been ages since we've gone to Hyde Park, and today's such a beautiful day. We've been cooped up here for 5 whole days. Can't we go for a proper day out? I've sort of wind them up a bit. I think that's how Alice and her sister would be, very wound up, irritating kids. Even Dina gets to enjoy sunshine. Alice points out the window where Dina is perched on the fence post. Dina's a cat, you snap back. Don't be cross, Mum, Lorna leads. But we've been absolutely mad indoors. She turns to her sister. Isn't that so, Alice? The young girl nods her head vigorously. You're two sly children. It is true they have been restless. Their bickering has reached an almost intolerable level. Just yesterday, Alice had been picking her nose and flicking snotballs at her sister. It was a warm and welcome change to finally see them acting civilly with one another, if only to act in concert against you. The girls need discipline, but you can also feel your resolve melting. Maybe a day outside would allow them to let off some steam. Tobie, are you in the mindset of the mum? If you relent, you allow the girls to go to Hyde Park. Or a firm hand is required, in this case, forbid the girls from going out. Or you relent, but you insist on Governess Agnes goes with them. Those are your 3 choices.
I'm going to relent, but I insist that Governess Agnes goes with them.
Go to page 117. Toby, we're normally doing like 60-page books. This is a 272-page book.
Wowzers.
There's no information about how many endings there are. Let's just go as we are. Maybe it'll be a two-parter. There's just one.
Yeah.
117.
Is it illustrated?
Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
Perfectly done.
Oh, nice. That's pretty good.
All and bold. The cover's kind of nice. I guess it's the same style, but details up with a little splash of colour pop.
Agnes?
What did I say? 177?
117.
Oh, smooth.
Transition.
As you affix the last of the sheets from your basket to the clothesline, you stretch up and gaze up at the sky. The sun is low above the neighbouring house. You've been blessed by this rare, nice day. The gentle breeze should have everything dried by evening, and Maggie can probably take everything in by bedtime. You run your tongue over your dry lips and call over to your housemate. Maggie, I'm on my way in. Fancy a cup of tea? Hi, ma'am. Very kind of you. You take one final look over the day's achievements. Long lines of clean, billowing sheets in the sun, and duck back inside the cool of the house. Not everything could fit on the clothesline out back, however. You definitely navigate shirts and shawls hung on the backs of chairs on the way to the range. Opening it, you shovel more coal into its hungry mouth before placing the kettle on top. You're grateful there seems to be enough water inside, at least for 2 cups. That'll save you some pumping. You hear the front door open, and then you move to greet your daughters and their governess. But when you get there, something's amiss. Agnes, a tiny woman to begin with, seems tinier all of a sudden. Her stricken face doesn't dare meet your gaze. She's panting as if she's been running. Lorna is braver, her wide eyes catching yours. She doesn't speak, though her face is similarly ashen. A fear grips your heart. What? For God's sake, somebody say something. It's Lorna who starts the tale. They'd settled down for a spot under the tree by the lake. They'd been grateful it was a Monday. If it were the weekend, surely that nice spot would have already been taken in the drowsy afternoon sun. Lorna started reading a book. Sleepily, she tried to persuade Alice to read it to her, but Alice was having none of it. She was interested in a book without pictures. She wasn't interested in a book without pictures. Instead, Alice was gathering daisies to make a chain or a garland. And the sun was so nice against my skin, it simply fell clean asleep, Lorna flinches. And when I woke, Alice was gone. You turn your gaze to the girl's governess, who looks as if she wants to shrink into the walls. And where were you when all this occurred? Agnes shakes her head as if clearing it. She's trembling, weeping into her scarf. If you weren't so incensed, you might even feel sorry for the woman. Ma'am, she mutters bravely above a whisper, I must confess I weren't nearby. Weren't nearby? You repeat incredulously. Where were you? Agnes is silent, but Lorna supplies the answer. She was over at Stanthorpe Street. Hush, child. Window shopping. You are taken with a sudden fury. All you want to do is hit the old woman, and you take a step forward and Agnes flinches. Window? You can barely shake out the words. Window shopping? The woman nods in the mute assent. You hear the kettle in the kitchen boiling over. For a moment you think you might actually lose your mind. But Maggie takes off the range, and now all you hear is the blood beating in your ears. Clum, 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 clum. Ma'am, Agnes says, I know I've bung this up. Created a right, miss, I did. Hush, you snap. Did you search the park? Aye, the old woman says. Scoured it, we did. Checked every hidey hole. Me throat's all sore from calling out her name. Alice, Alice. You can't stand the sight of the woman any longer and point to the door. Out, out. Agnes stands there uncertain, but as you take another step forward, she flinches, then leaves. Once the old woman is gone, you almost faint. Mummy, Lorna cries, as you find her a chair to settle on. You reflect idly that Lorna hasn't called you Mummy in years. It's always much more formal Mum now. You feel old. Right now, you wish your own mother were there to take care of everything. Strict as she was, this would never have happened under her watch. You picture Alice in Hyde Park, lost, scared. The sun will be down in a few hours. But you know Reg will be home soon, and 2 heads are always better than 1. He will certainly know what to do. Do you go and look for Alice now, Toby, or do you want to wait for your husband to get home?
Oh, well, I think the best course of action is to go look for her now. Yes, look for her now, just because the time that the times that they were living in and things like that, or I live in at this day late, that it's probably best to get action heavy.
You know what they say about like kidnap people and all of that? Like the
first
the
24 hours.
Yeah, the chances of finding them after 24 hours drops like 60%, 70%, a really high percentage. Flipping it.
And anything other than panic and desperation feels wrong.
Also, what else are you going to do? I don't know,
Let's just chill out and wait.
You can sort of get the maid to sort of wait for the husband. As a huge cuppa fan, do you want your cuppa first? Get going.
No, I'll take
the kettle's boiled. Nice. 184.
I'm assuming Maggie's made it while we were yabbering and shouting at Agnes. Thanks, Maggie.
Cheers, Max. The sun is perilously low by the time you get dressed and arrived at Hyde Park. After a day of vigorous movement, you feel simultaneously confined and comforted by the hug of your corset. This way, mummy, Lorna points towards the distant tree. Well manicured, Hyde Park is sprawling, full of fountains, woods, and pathways. At spots, statues are raised to memorialize prominent Englishmen. You never really paid much attention in the past, but tonight in the dusk, they look like gargoyles. As you arrive, a pigeon flutters off. It's been gnawing at the bread in the basket from the girls' picnic. As you arrive, a pigeon flutters off. It's been gnawing at the bread in the basket from the girls' picnic. You stand for a moment, breathless, as if Alice will somehow appear unbidden. It's as I left it, Lorna says, gathering the blankets in her book. The spot the girls chose is beside a large, man-made lake which snakes its way through the park. At the base of the tree, you see the flattened grass where Lorna had slept. And beside it, a half-woven crown of daisies sits abandoned, blown apart by the wind. You can barely contain the sob in your heart. You scan around looking for more daisies, but there's no trail. Once everything has been packed away, both Lorna and Maggie watch you, awaiting instruction. You wish Reg were here. We will do the most logical thing, you say, pointing down one side of the snaking lake. You tell Lorna to search along the bank. Maggie will go the other way, you say, and I will venture into the park itself. We will go for 20 minutes, calling out continuously for Alice. Perhaps she is hiding.
Yes,
perhaps she is hurt. Or with the hurt or the hiding?
No, the plan.
If I know Alice, she's off tripping her tits off.
Yeah, more than likely. I don't know why we need Reg, though. Strong, independent woman.
He does have the voice I like doing.
Yeah, true.
I guess it's Victorian times. I think maybe that's your part. I was going to say the mum's part. That's your part. Yeah. Then we return here. Am I clear? Your daughter and her housemaid nod. Then you all start out. This time of day, the park is sparsely populated. You pass a lamplighter, leaning his ladder against a lamppost. Excuse me, you say to the man as he climbs, but have you seen a little girl? She's 7 years old. Striking a match, the man looks down at you, shaking his head. Nay, best she gets your young uns home double quick, the man says. The gas flares and stabilizes. The man closes the glass door on the lamp and starts back down. That is my intention, you say, moving on. What a supremely unhelpful gentleman. For the next 20 minutes, you call yourself hoarse. You can hear in the distant cries of Lorna and Maggie. In the dusk light, you look hither and thither for your daughter. But you only see couples sauntering in the evening. What's sauntering? Like the Victorian word for chilling?
Yeah, slowly walking.
Oh, okay, that makes sense. It's like the Lovecraft episode all over again. So many words.
Yeah. Can I just draw attention to the fact that they have lamplighters, the street lights at night. Oh my God. That is madness.
Do you think there would have been a solo job, or like during the day I do this other thing? I'm like the park man, and in the evenings I light the lamps. Or it's like, no, you're a full-time lamplighter and you have about an hour to do like a whole area.
They did that with street lights as well.
Yeah. Victorian times, yeah. I mean, there was less of them. And I'm starting to believe they probably wouldn't have them in the parks, but
yeah. Would they have had them in Southampton?
I imagine so. Yeah, Northumberland. Basically, most cities certainly would have had them.
That was a job to go round and light the gas lamps.
That was only half the job, mate. You had to get up at the crack of dawn and put them out again because it was oil.
What?
Yeah.
Jeez.
Learning with Alice's mum. The more you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Just like Charles Dickens. That's why I like I don't know. It's so fun and gothic to have Victorian stuff because it's all like lamplit and gothic and
I've
misty
never,
and dark.
ever seen a lamplighter in any form of media that I've ever.
There's a
in
nice
47 years.
What about in the Muppets Christmas Carol? When they're lighting it, it's like the lamp, not the rat, like the lamp, not the rat, and he sets Rizzo on fire.
That's the Muppet Christmas Carol. Isn't it?
Oh. Have I exposed myself for my historical knowledge of lamplighters coming from the Muppets, which could have been made up just for that? No, yeah, lamplighters for sure.
Damn, I'm going to go on a lamplighting.
Bring it back.
Bring
it back. Less electricity, more. I don't know, whale blubber. I don't know what they used. Oil, I guess. Finally, you turn around and meet back at the tree. As you arrive, you are ever hopeful, but one glance dashes it. No, Alice. Perhaps we missed her by a whisker, Maggie says. Perhaps the young miss made her way home? You nod. It is certainly a possibility, but in your secret heart you are afraid to believe. Maggie, you hand the picnic basket to your housemaid. Take Lorna home. Hopefully Alice is there. Wait for Reg and tell him what has transpired. And you, ma'am? I'll keep looking. Maggie frowns. Keep looking? All by your lonesome? You nod determined. And when can we expect you home? You shake your head. I've no idea. Maggie sighs, but does as you instruct. You watch the two of them tread off into the waning light. Oh, we know what waning means, huh? We learnt that one. When they are nothing but small dots, you turn once again to the sound of the water lapping against the embankment. In the dusk, you can see the herringbone of wind on water. It's a herringbone, like the ripples. I've never heard that term before. That's cool.
No.
There's like a little edge. They're sneaking in education.
Yeah.
And you feel the chill of the days getting shorter. Goes a copper. Jumping, you turn at the voice. From behind the tree, a vagrant in tattered rags appears. You should have known he was there from the smell. Your nose wrinkles as the unmistakable scent of salt, stale urine surrounds you. The man grins at you, his missing teeth a smattering of dark holes. A copper, miss. He extends his grubby hand toward you. Your gut is screaming at you to get away. His presence feels like an ill omen. But then you catch yourself. Maybe the man saw something. This is his turf after all. Could he have spied something helpful to you? Are you ready, Toby? I'll have a swig of coffee after I've given you the choice. Perhaps you pass Alice on the way to the park. Perhaps she is already home and all the worry is for naught. You can decide to go home. However, if you decide to inquire with the vagrant about Alice, you can do that as an option. You're going to have some coffee?
Okay, then. So I've got two options here. Go home or ask this toothless vagrant who smells of urine and feces for help.
Are you in the mindset of a Victorian lady, or are you?
I am.
Are you Toby?
I am.
Are you
no, I'm in
yourself?
the mindset of I'm in the mindset of a Victorian lady, and as a Victorian woman, I am obviously out of my comfort zone right now. It's after dark. The herringbones are whipping across a lake, and the lamplights are flickering on in the distance. I'm surrounded by the smell of urine, which is something that I'm not accustomed to, but yet I still have this missing daughter who I'm desperately trying to find. So
I'll pick you on one point, Toby.
As a woman of childbearing qualities, that sense of urgency prevails over the sense of dread and fear that the vagrant in front of me is exuding. So I will pursue advice from this piss and shit smelling vagrant.
And it seems a given when the alternative is go home. We just had a page about how you weren't going to go home and send the other two home to then go, you know what, I'm going home. Change of plan.
Made a mistake.
If you pass Alice on the way to the park, perhaps you were in page 54. Let's get some vagrant chatter going on. There's a little picture of the dude.
He looks just like me. That's hilarious.
I mean, he's smart. He's got a waistcoat and a jacket. He's got the sort of the Victorian gruff, wasn't quite the modern gruff.
Stolen. Stabbed.
You clutch your purse tightly as you nod at the man. Actually, you say, I'm looking for someone. You know, The man, I've given him, I've changed his accent, I'm not gonna lie. The man withdraws his hand and shoves it in his pants pocket, or what passes for pockets in what passes for pants. Just so happens, me too. You are? Aye, the man nods. I've been waiting all day. What an unsettling response. You frowned, hoping that in the deepening gloom, the man can't catch the alarmed expressions that flit across your face. You take a quick glance around under a street lamp not far off. You think you can see a bobby twirling his truncheon. If need be, you could call for help. Maybe go for the policeman for help? You reckon? Sir, would you happen to have seen my daughter? Her name is Alice. She's quite young. She got lost this afternoon. The man licks his lips. Mayhap I spied something, a little girl fair of hair. You start. I'm transforming him as we go. It's that thing in the past where it's like, is this character going to come and go, or is he going to be like a constant companion? So I don't want to waste a good voice and have to come up with another one in case he doesn't come.
Yeah. Well, let's
see how it goes.
Think of tangents. This is probably the equivalent to the White Rabbit.
You reckon? The White Rabbit was just a sort of hobo. I don't know why he's giving me like slightly like shady molester vibes.
Well, he put his hand in his pants. It's probably got something to do with it.
Am I just being a snob?
Possibly, but that's my job because I'm the Victorian woman.
I am just a vehicle. You start at the mention of Alice's blonde hair. You wait for the man to go on, but he only stares at you. Trying not to betray your fraying nerves, you reach into your purse and pull out a shilling. No, the man mutters. What do ye take me for? I'm not a pot to piss in, but I'm still a gentleman. I'll tell ye what I know. Oh, I did judge him. I judged him. I feel bad. I should have just kept my mouth shut for like one more line. I would have come off as a cool, progressive type who sees people as human beings. He pauses. I tell you what you know, he pauses. For a kiss. What? Outrageous. Yes. No, you stink. Impossible. Just a tiny peck, the man says, pinching his thumb and index finger together. So I am married. But that's the qualm, the marriage. The man smiles, reaching into his pocket and pulls out a pocket watch. Ooh.
Hey!
Odd that a vagrant should have such a luxury, but you are reluctant to point that out. He looks up at you, dropping the watch back in his pocket. I don't have all day. You shake your head. You are not giving this man a kiss. The man sighs. Fine, give me the coin then. Relieved, you hand the man the shilling. He rubs his fingers over it for a few moments, then looks at it. Call it, he says. Call what? Heads or tails? Whatever for. If ye call true, I'll tell you what I know. But if I'm wrong, do you expect a kiss? No, but I'll take the coin. Why don't you just take the coin and tell me what you know? Now, where's the fun in that? Oh, I should have done like the No Country for Old Men voice. That would have been a treat.
Where is the fun in that?
Daft. The man's just daft. Please, sir, just tell me what you know. But he refuses to be swayed. Call it, he demands, placing the coin on his thumb. Do you call heads? Do you call tails? Or would you rather just kiss this despicable man and not play a silly game? Are your options, young mother of Alice? I guess in my head...
Part of me wants to go in for the kiss.
Yeah?
Just slam him, put him in, plant one on him.
Give him a shock.
Shock him into,
turn his
a kiss and a dime. I'll tell you everything I know.
To page 9 we go, to give him a kiss.
Yes, let's give him a kiss.
I'd rather just kiss you and get it over with, you tell the man, and in the darkness you see the white of his toothy grin appear, as though there weren't even a body behind it. Ooh, it's like the cat, sort of cat grin. As ye wish, the man says, putting the coin away. You hear it clink against his pocket watch. For the first time, you're glad it's so dark. You know how this looks. Apprehensive, you lean in gingerly. The man's rank body odor swarms you. Nauseous, you think you might throw up. You start to pull back, but you change your mind. The man grabs you like a trap. He brings his mouth to yours. You pull back, but his wet lips are already pressed against you. His tongue darts into your mouth. Push the man away with all your might, and this time he draws back, releasing you laughing.
You have every disease under the sun.
Foul man, you spit, swiping your mouth with your sleeve. The man draws his fingers across his lips as if saving some for later. Oh, you chose this, Tobie.
This is palpable.
You chose this. Now tell me, you shout. Tell me what you know. Smiling, the man nods. Turn to page 30.
I know nothing.
I tell you, the man says. I guess I'm trying to do a Johnny Depp as the man.
He's
flittering from Scottish, like the Mike Myers Scottish, to the mumblecore to just, I don't know. I forgot what I did yesterday, so I'll do what I'm doing today.
Okay.
I tell ye, the man says, leaning back against the tree. He takes a quick glance around and says, a right queer fellow he was. Who was? Always lurking around, tasping about, but he's no cutpurse. He's a gentleman. A gentleman? Aye, he wears a waistcoat, he does, but always looks like he's in a hurry. Name of Bodkins. Was this Bodkins here today, in the park? The man nods. If any ill befit your lass, I'll wager it was he. He wears a waistcoat. Do you have any other details? Aye, he's lost his rabbit. He has a rabbit. The man nods. Right, beautiful bugger is too. Pure white. So you've seen it? Aye, a little ribbon around his neck. At times he carries it about and shows it off. Lets the lads and lasses touch it. You try to remember if you've seen the man. You would have remembered him. His gentleman in a waistcoat with a little white rabbit and a red ribbon around his neck. Hard to forget. Of late, however, he comes asking the lads and lasses to help him look for the rabbit. You frown. Perhaps the rabbit's gone missing. Perhaps, the man shrugs, then grins. Perhaps he's eaten it. You glance across the park and note that most of the gas lamps have already been lit. The vagrant follows your gaze and sees a couple of bobbies that are slowly wandering in your direction. Again, he pulls out his pocket watch and glances at a time. My, he says, how late it's getting. The vagrant starts moving off in the opposite direction of the officers. Wait, you step after him. You're sure his name is Bodkins? Aye, the man calls over his shoulder, but he's hurrying now towards a clump of thick bushes. Under a copse of trees. You'll find your lass, he says reassuringly. Perhaps she simply fell into some hole. Then the man disappears into the shadows of the trees. You stare after him for a moment. The whole thing seems like a dream, or a nightmare, except that you can still smell the man's pungent scent around you, like he's marked you. Bodkins, you murmur to yourself. Finally, a lead. Tobie. Without any knowledge about what's going on, you have 3 choices ahead of you.
Okay.
Go and ask the bobbies about this, Bodkins. However, there is another woman here under a lamppost, casting a wary glance in your direction. Maybe she saw something. Or you still have a feeling the vagrant knows more than he's telling you. If you follow him, turn into the woods on page 88.
So I am a woman of instinct. And I act on my feelings. So I'm going to follow the vagrant into the woods.
Going into the woods after the vagrant.
After the vagrant, in the same way that Alice chased the rabbit. Although this is our he does have a stopwatch. Maybe this is Bodkins.
Oh, you reckon he's just like the partnering himself?
Possibly, yeah, possibly.
Any young listeners out there, never follow men into the woods in a park, ever.
All puppies, all rabbits.
Cautiously, you approach the wooded area where the vagrant disappeared. Pausing at the perimeter, you spy a well-worn path through the patch of wild grass, which you follow. A cobweb in your face. You duck down. Isn't that the worst? Cobwebs in the face. You have to
cobwebs, yes.
Peel it off.
That's what it said.
You duck down into a crouch and wander in. Bushes close in around you. Despite the cool of the evening, you are sweating. Finally, you arrive at a small clearing with a campsite. It is well hidden in overgrown bushes. You scan the area for the vagrant, but don't see him. Possibly he heard you coming and left. In a murky light, you see an inordinate amount of trash, the detritus around the campsite. Random bookshelves, empty picture frames, a rickety chair. Peering ever closer at the shelves, you see rolled up maps, empty orange marmalade jars. How in the world did this vagrant manage to haul all this out here? Then, in the very center of the camp, you see a hole. In the gloom, you'd assume it was a fire pit or a dark rug, but as you approach, you notice a shovel stuck in the grass beside it. You grow cold. Something bright is in the hole. Is that Alice's shoe? Like I says, the voice behind you is sharp, as is the reek of urine. Perhaps you fell into a hole. You start to turn, but the vagrant shoves you. Tripping, you fall into the hole, breath knocked out of you. In whatever light is left, you watch the vagrant grab the shovel, raising it high above you. Nighty-night now. The end. Oh, Tobie.
Ladies and gentlemen, that is why we do not follow strangers into forests.
Yeah, Mrs. Alice, battered with a shovel in the park, as with your daughter. Ooh.
I am reeling.
I sort of thought earlier, I think we're going down like a realist events of the events and characters about it. Like she, assuming she got home all right, like to when like someone young goes through something traumatic, they sort of like delusionally, their brain has to make it work for them, so they have to sort of come up with a fantasy. I think we're on the other side of it, and it's dark, Tobie.
Well, my golly.
Do you want to maybe go and ask the Bobbies about Bobkins? Or maybe go back and speak to a woman under a lamppost, casting a glance in your very direction?
I think it would be best to...
Well, we know how brutal this book gets. Huh?
Yeah. And I got a feeling the Bobbies are on the take as well. What was it, being Victorian times? So I'm going to talk to the Lady of the Night. So I'm assuming she's a lady of the night, being out at night and under a lamppost.
And to page 46.
Depends if she's got big bosoms or not.
She's pretty. I don't know about big, but she's a low corset for Victorian times.
She's well endowed.
She's got a heaving bosom.
As a single man, I would be
having a heaving bosom too.
Yeah.
She should have waited for Reg. Back at the beginning.
Where is Reg? It's been a while now. You thought he'd come out and find us.
Maybe he's home late.
Oh, me.
I've seen enough true crime to know I'm putting my money on Reg being the culprit.
Oh, crikey.
Stepping off the path onto the grass, you approach the woman. She's well dressed with her hair loose under a satin hat. Excuse me, you say, but you know a Mr. Bodkins? The woman frowns. Bodkins? Why? Do you know him? Are you his wife? You laugh. Oh, no. Never heard of him, the woman says, turning away. Wait. You move closer, following her, touching her arm, but she spins suddenly. Why are you crowding me? I'm not trying to. Get to your own patch of pitch, the woman says. Oh, Tobie was right. Woman of the night, patch of pitches. She eyes the nearby bobbies warily, who are beginning to take notice of the commotion. That's when you realize who, or rather what, the woman is. There's only one reason for a solitary lady to be out in the park at night. In your zeal to find your daughter, you'd forgotten. Oh, goodness, you say, backing away. You're a prostitute. The woman's eyes flash in the dark. Aye, and what of it? That you scurry back to the path underneath the light of the lamp. Don't you judge me, the woman growls. You take refuge under the lamp. First smelly vagrants, now dirty whores. What's going on? How did you end up here? I mean, the alternative is darker. Crikey, she should count herself lucky.
Yeah.
Hoity-toity so, the woman grumbles. Sod off. Mark what happens to you when you have had hard times beset, when your husband runs off and you've got mouths to feed at home. Sorry, that's... It's written in a sort of colloquial times language.
Yeah,
the mic isn't cutting out. Let me give that another go. It's quite fun, but hard to do. And I haven't done the right voice for it. Mark what happens to you when you've had hard times beset you, when your husband runs off, when you've got mouth to feed at home. Nice.
Very smooth.
Right, you've got decision time, Alice's mum. You can still speak to the police. You can just go home and see if Alice somehow got herself home. Or perhaps you were too hard on the woman, despite her profession. You still might have seen something if you apologise to her.
Oh, based on that last sentence of her having a relatable, hard
husband
home life.
Off.
Yeah, exactly. I'm going to use that as a way in and glean more information.
Wait, you follow the woman as she saunters down the path away from the officers. What now? She snaps. I'm ever so sorry, you say, keeping pace with her. I do apologize. I don't... Well, I'm inexperienced in the ways of the world. I meant no offense. You have children at home? The woman slows her gait and turns to you, her face softening. Underneath all that paint, you can tell she's actually quite young. The only thing that isn't painted over is a prominent dark mole on her left cheek. Who's watching them? At this, the woman goes silent. I mean, you stammer, I was merely... Me young'uns are safe enough, the woman says. I give them a drop of Dalby's, puts them right to sleep. At times, I take it myself after a long night. You're familiar with Dalby's calmative. You used to use it yourself with Lorna, but grew suspicious when her pupils remained dilated. Oh, the olden days. Drugs on tap.
That's just
Some kind of seed of the poppy.
all levels of wrong right there.
Opioids for kids. Actually, I
I'd
have children
stick to whiskey,
myself. That's the reason I'm out here, you confess. You explain about Alice and the woman and ask the woman if she's seen anything. The woman is quiet for a long time. She shoots glances at you as if deciding whether to trust you. Finally, she stops underneath a lamp. Listen here. Talk to Lady Plumley. Lady Plumley, you snort. Is she royalty? Royal pain in me arse, the woman grins. But anyhow, all of Hyde Park falls under her sway. She pays the bobbies to leave us alone. They do, mostly. Any of the goings on here, Plumley'll know. And where might I find Lady Plumley? She runs an orphanage on Ravensworth Road. An orphanage? Ground floor's the orphanage. Action's all upstairs. Who knows? Your lass probably ended up there. Oh, God. Orphanage on the ground floor of a madam's house. Crikey. We're still in Grimland. The woman hesitates before answering. Best you go see for yourself. Your gut clenches. You don't like the sound of any of this. Off ye go, the woman says, waving you off. I've said my piece. You watch as the woman removes her short and opens her coat to reveal décolletage. Thank you so much. You give the woman a friendly touch on the shoulder before you set off towards the park's exit. Ravensworth Road isn't far from here. It's a brisk walk. Though you are dreadfully exhausted, you feel in your heart that it's the right decision. You worry how this looks, an unaccompanied woman moving through the night, but you hold your head high and very soon you are out of the park. Turn to page 11.
Moving through the night.
We're on quite an epic adventure for mostly just nattering and getting shoveled in.
Yeah. Yeah, took one wrong turn so far, which isn't too bad.
The cold creeps into your bones as you step quickly towards the orphanage. A light fog mists the cobblestone street and you worry about your child. Her disappearance maddens you. You want to just collapse right there in the street, but that won't help anyone, least of all Alice. As you see it, a weathered 3-story brick building squats between a candle factory and a workhouse. Jutting from the wall is a painted sign. Lady Plumley's Home and School for Orphaned Girls. Beside the sign are a few dirty windows obscured by dark curtains. You go over the wooden door and give it a rap. You have to knock hard because it's an old door and thick. The sound barely travels. Ooh, that's a nice description. You wait a few moments, then knock again. No response. Finally, you try the latch and it opens right up. Inside is a large open room divided into various sections. Along one wall is a series of long tables and benches, presumably where the children eat their meals. And on the other side of the room is a number of single chairs, all facing a coal thread range. Then there's a play area where the children are now. It's about 24 girls, all barefoot and in plain brown dresses, each adorned with large white apron over the top. Some play with broken dolls and missing limbs. Others draw on sand trays with sticks, but several are cloistered in the corner doing needlework of some sort. When they catch sight of you, however, they grow silent. A grim, skinny woman follows their gaze and lurches over to you. One of her knees does not bend. Hello, the woman nods at you, her smile tight. How can I help you? Are you Lady Plumley? You ask the woman, scanning the girls over the woman's shoulder. The thin woman cackles. I look like a lady to you. You merely smile politely. Nay, I'm no lady. The woman extends a hand, and you take her gnarled grip in yours. My name's Fanny Jenkins, merely run of the day to day. Are you looking to adopt? You look over the girls, they're all staring blankly at you. You don't see Alice among them, but the building has a few floors. From here, you don't see where they sleep. There are certain to be other rooms, and most likely other girls. How cunning are you feeling, Tobie, Alice's mum? You can lie and say you are looking to adopt. You can tell Fanny Jenkins the truth that you're looking for your missing daughter. Or you can insist on speaking to her, Lady Plumley herself.
Oi, oi, oi.
What card are you going to play?
Looking to adopt.
Oh, you're going to go for the conniving deceit.
I'm going to look to check out the floors and hope that...
To page 38, we go. Yes, why, you tell the woman. My husband and I are looking to adopt a little girl. Fanny Jenkins takes note of your wedding ring, then eyes your wool cape and your nice leather shoes. There is a matter of a small adoption fee, she says, but I trust that won't be an hardship for yourself and your husband. That's fine, you say smoothly. Then the woman claps her hands 3 times and the girls immediately line themselves up from the tallest to the smallest. You're taken aback. You didn't expect something so formal. As you are led down the rows of girls, Fanny Jenkins nods at each one of them in turn, and every girl states her name and age. Vivian, miss, I'm 12. I'm Grace, age 7 3/4. Name's Eliza, I'm 6. Your heart breaks as each girl stands up straight and announces herself. One girl is so nervous, she's visibly shaking. You want to hug her, but you don't want to make the whole ordeal worse than it already is. Finally, you reach the end of the line without having seen Alice. Fanny Jenkins smiles at you. Anyone you fancy? She asks. Is this all of them? Aye. You take a deep breath, and you can feel the stares of the girls burning to the side of your face. Would you like to go back down the line? You shake your head. No, you manage to croak. You turn to the girls. It was a delight to meet each and every one of you, you say with respectfulness you don't feel. You turn back to the women. I must go home now and make a considered decision. I'll bring my husband next time. The woman nods. Be sure you do, she says, walking you out. The line of girls relaxes and they go back to playing. Could I get your name? Call on you, perhaps. You hurry to the door and throw yourself out into the cool night. Not to worry, you call over the shoulder. I'll be in touch. Page 13.
Oh, but I want to go and talk to whatever her name was.
Didn't really plan out.
No.
You sort of got these little girls' little hopes up.
Yeah, that unfolded badly.
Outside, a fog bank has swept in, and you step into the familiar, moist texture of the Thames River stench and coal smoke. You sigh and pull your cape closer on your shoulders. You look for a cab to take home, but the fog is too thick. Under the street lamps, you see faint, ghostly figures. With zero visibility, the coaches move excruciatingly slow. Even if you did manage to find a cab, it would take forever to get anywhere. You move as fast as molasses. Out of the doughy grey veil, mere strides from you, a carriage rolls past. A boy walks with a horse, one hand holding his harness, a foot dragging along the curb. It's the only way to navigate in such pea soup. Pausing for a moment, you wonder what you should do next. Should you return to Hyde Park? Alternatively, going home might be a good idea. Alice might be there, and all the searching would be for nothing. You close your eyes for a second, and you can see your daughter making her heart simmer with her hands and giving you that sweet smile. Your heart aches for not knowing her whereabouts. A movement mere feet in front of you. A blade swashes through the fog. Quickly now, the man growls. Your purse. Ooh. Tobes, Alice's mum. Hand it over. Run or fight. Flight or fight or sort of obedience.
God.
If we recap the day, I think your body is quite wrecked because it was wash day, and I thought wash day was just bath day, but it's clean everything and the back day.
But then saying that,
if
we do that once a week and it's a whole day's worth of exercise, I'm going to be pretty strong.
But is she also malnutritioned?
No.
She's on the richer side.
So I'm going to lamp the motherfucker.
You're going to fight him?
I'm going to fight him.
Right, I'm going to bookmark this page.
In the pea souper, this guy is taking some soup.
If you fight the thief, turn to page 83. Can we get there before our time runs out?
Join us next week to find out what happens.
You grab the grimy wrist of the cut-purser's knife hand, attempting to shake the weapon loose, but he is very strong. He kicks you in the crotch, doubling you over. This was a bad idea, you realise. You back away, but the man follows you like a demon through the fog. He slashes at your chest, but miraculously, the knife edge slips off your corset boning, leaving you unharmed. Quickly, you spin and run through the darkness, but the man chases you. Turn to page 188.
Whoa.
You run blindly, arms out in front of you. Help, you cry as you hurtle through the fog. Help me! In the lamplight, you can barely see a wall that leads into an alleyway. With no choice, you duck down, it pouring at its sides. Halfway down, you stop. You try to calm your ferocious beating heart and quieten your breath. You listen for footfalls, but hear nothing. Perhaps you lost the thief. Without warning, a forearm twines around your waist and a cold blade presses against your neck. You inhale sharply, but try not to move. So kind of you to find a place where we can be alone, the man purrs. Then his hand moves to your neckline, pulling your cape open. Please, your voice comes out as a whisper. You swallow and try again. Please, listen to me. I have money. I can... Quiet now. The man deepens the pressure of the knife. Hush, or I shall slit your throat into a smile so wide it should meet behind. Oof. Even though you can't see his... Maybe, yeah. Even though you can't see his face, you can tell he is grinning. You can barely breathe. You think you might faint. In fact, that might be a blessing. The man's hands drop towards your breast. You hear a sharp thunk. The man's hand grows limp, then slides off your body like a cloak. The knife clatters to the ground. You stand unmoving. Is this some sort of trick? Then a different voice carries through the fog. You're safe now, ma'am. Maybe. You're safe now, madam. In disbelief, you turn. Though the light is faint, a man in a cricket player's uniform stands there with his bat in hand. On the ground in front of him is a cat purse, unconscious. Oh, you exclaim, grateful for the unexpected aid. Were you on your way to a match? The man smiles confidently. I'm a batsman. Well, you acknowledge. You certainly must be an exceptional one. No, the man clarifies. Batsman is my name. Your name is Batsman? This puzzles you. Why is this gentleman's name what he is dressed as? That's as if your mother had named you proper English woman or some such nonsense. Indeed, the man half bows. Then Batsman proceeds to tell you an astonishing story, one you are disinclined to believe. Apparently, when he was a young boy, Batsman's family were moving from the countryside to the country. Their carriage was accosted by a highwayman who brutally killed both his parents. Too young to do anything about it, at the time, Batsman vowed to rid London of all crime and criminals. Batsman, jeez, so where's this going?
He's a Batman.
I wish to strike fear into the hearts of the cowardly cutthroats who would terrorize my fellow citizens, Batsman says. Now I patrol this godforsaken Gotham by gaslight for beastly curs such as this joker right here. He nudges the unconscious man who doesn't stir. Well, I certainly appreciate your vigilance, you tell the young man. But why Batsman? If you truly desire to strike fear in the hearts of criminals, you might have chosen a more ferocious uniform. Batsman looks offended. Such as what? Well, you muse aloud, did you ever consider a bat? A bat? Dress up like a bat? Are you mad? Then a vision of your cat Dina as she is about to pounce on a bug comes to mind. Or a cat? Batsman snorts at the derision. The Batman, the Catman, utter madness. Batsman bends down and rifles through the unconscious man's pockets, then gives you purse. This gives you pause. Is Batsman a thief himself? Twinkle, twinkle, little bat, how I wonder where you're at, Batman sings to himself under his breath, finding a small leather coin purse. Batsman tucks it in his own pocket and gets up. Ma'am, I wish you a safe journey. Then, brandishing the cricket bat like a crane, Batman saunters off through the fog. Shaken but thankfully unarmed, you wander back to the street. Turn to page 28. I'm not going to lie, I'm enjoying this a lot more than I ever would have thought. I thought it was like going to be like a fun, the other ones we do, which are for kids, like they're kind of fun while we do, but
Yeah.
halfway point, I don't really care about it. But I'm invested.
Invested. That's the word.
Page 28. You wander the streets for a spell. Dark and foggy, you follow the glow of the lamps. If it weren't for the deep stench of horse manure, you feel that at some point you'd left the regular world, the world you know, behind. At some point, you'd stepped into a queerer world, a world that underlay our own world like a blueprint, like God's secret plan. You have a hope based on nothing that you will simply run into Alice on the street, crying and lost, and that she will see you and run to you, cling to your skirts, and you will carry her home, berating her for leaving her sister, but full of the greatest relief you have ever known. While you and Reg and the girls have always gone to church every Sunday, you have never needed God as much as you do now. As you walk, you pray. You close your eyes and walk blind. You navigate by listening to your beating heart, your footsteps on the cobblestones, the slapping of the water against the wharfs. A distant foghorn. You listen for God's response to your entreaties. Then you hear new voices, a language you don't understand. Around you, the mist is now pierced by rain, gentle but steady. Over time, it will push away the fog, but right now it is soaking into your clothes. You open your eyes and find yourself in the Limehouse district. A whiff of rotting fish salts your nose. Suddenly exhausted, you take in a bright glowing lamp outside of a tea house. Why not? Though you've never been inside a Chinese tea house before, you think to yourself, I like tea. Why not step inside and have a nice cup of tea? As you push the door open, a warm waft of smoke blows in your face. Oh. Inside, it's dimly lit, and for a moment you stand on the threshold, uncertain whether to continue or to go home. A gentle conversation in Chinese weeds its way through the smoke to you. Are you ready for decision time, Tobie?
Yes. Yes.
Can you guess? Can you, the one constant that this book keeps nagging us to do?
Go home.
Do you want to go home to your husband, who hopefully has better ideas, or on how to find Alice, or you can insist and go inside and take a seat?
Well, we are technically at the Mad Hatter's tea party now.
I guess so, yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to go and have some cups of tea with the local establishment.
Tobie,
patrons.
Regular listeners, I think, would have seen your growth on this podcast. I remember a gorillas in the mountain where quite commonly took the path to, do you want to run away or go for it? I'll run away. It was a consistent theme of turning around and going back to the start. I'm impressed, Tobie, Mum. Maybe your daughter's danger. It's that thing of you can rip a car door off with the strength.
I am playing the character as best as my possibility I possibly can.
Turned into a tiger. 144.
My mother's love.
The instant you enter, you feel like you've made a mistake. No cheery bell sound when you stepped in the door, and a blue cloud of smoke hangs everywhere as if the city's misty fog followed you inside. Though it looks warm and cozy through its windows, the lights in the room are actually quite subdued. Every lamp has a shade or a muslin cloth over the top. Inside, light is a whisper. The room itself is a mystery, as most of it is screened off from you. From where you're sitting at this low ornate table, it's difficult to get a sense of its dimensions. Just as you're about to get up and leave, a Chinaman shuffles by. He sees you and frowns. I don't think I can do the accent. It doesn't feel right. I am. My mum is Chinese, listeners, but it doesn't feel right. Who are you? He mutters. It takes you a moment to adjust to his thick accent. I beg your pardon. You want smoke? You swallow. I'd like a cup of tea, please. The man shakes his head. No tea. You smoke? With a start, you realize that you're inside a Chinese opium den. You've heard of such establishments, but didn't realize the smell of opium smoke, having never been around anyone who ever smoked it. You smoke? The man smiles. Very relaxed. You want to tell him no, that the last thing you want to do is have a smoke of this wretched drug, that you are wet and tired, and you'd pay a king's ransom for a simple cup of hot tea and a little bit of sugar and milk. But you ask him something else. Is there anyone here who speaks English? You ask him. I speak. No, you say. I mean better English. I speak very better, he says, slightly louder. No, I mean, a call comes from the outside of the screen, another Chinaman saying something you don't understand. The one you're talking to moves off immediately, his long braids swinging behind him. You sigh, exasperated, and get off the wicker chair. By now you can hear the rain beating a steady patter on the roof. You don't look forward to stepping back out into it, but you don't want to stay here. From where you're standing...
Do you think this is the tea party or the caterpillar?
I think there is a path that maybe leads it to us. Oh, yeah, I guess the caterpillar. I've never read it, but I did notice in at least the Tim Burton one, he's got a fat bong or something going with him.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's references to it. I don't know if historically, like, there is a quite clear translation of Alice in Wonderland where it's like, no, this obviously, is it the Studio Ghibli one where the Spirited Away, where it's like, this, madam, this is basically like metaphor for prostitution and Lost Girls and stuff. If there's a clear Alice in Wonderland one, We'll have to do Alice in Wonderland sometime. That's whimsy, potentially whimsy, potentially dark underlying now.
Yeah.
Sort of maybe should have done that before we were Alice's
constantly
mum.
be wondering what the mother's doing. Yeah.
But maybe, it might just be this is some sort of wacky opium tea party. From where you're standing, you can spy the scene behind the screen, and out of curiosity, you take a peek. The Chinaman moves quietly like a nurse tending to his patients. He relights a lamp for one man lounging on a bench covered in silk pillows, worn rough. Pairs of benches flank square tables, each of which holds a most beautifully detailed tray containing an elaborate assortment of strange smoking implements. You had no idea that smoking opium required such complicated tools. You're about to turn away from the scene and head back outside when you feel a hand on your arm. A Chinese woman in a light green silk dress nods at you. Tea? She says. Yes. You almost laugh in gratitude. The Chinese woman takes her hand off your wet sleeve and clucks disapprovingly. You change, she says, guiding you over to another screen. There are no benches behind this one, just a chair and a mirror, but on the chair is a towel and a sumptuous robe. You change, the woman says, then tea. This worries you. Why is she so insistent on you changing? This is certainly beyond the pale, expecting you to disrobe before having a simple cup of tea. You fear they have plans for you after you've changed. You know that the whole area of the Limehouse is ridden with prostitution, gambling, and drugs. The room you're in is filled with unknown numbers of Chinamen. They could overpower you. And no one knows you're here, not even your husband. Perhaps you should leave now before it is too late. You can abruptly leave for home, or you can change into the robe. I feel like there's a force. If we die, it will be like, I gave you so many opportunities to just go home. And you ignore them.
Well, balls.
But we're in deep now, and we're kind of coming close to the end of the episode.
Yeah, okay, I'm going in. I'm going to get drains into my robe.
I don't want to go home. Isn't that an Alice thing where she sort of, the drink me, like she sort of shrinks, and then like, I guess her dress becomes huge, so she has to slip into something smaller. Page 70. No, page 129.
Gosh.
As you begin undressing, you watch the 3-panel changing screen in front of you to ensure you aren't being spied upon. At any moment, you half expect to see the Chinaman's slitted eyes peering through its edge. You're unsettled, and you have every reason to be. But minutes later, you're as naked as the day you were born as you slide the silk gown on. Despite being cool to the touch, once on, it's surprisingly warm. Tobie, I actually had a massage yesterday.
Oh, yeah.
And you had one like the other week.
Yeah.
There's that moment where you're just getting sort of Billy Bollock naked. Was it? I found it just weird. It's like, I just realized I'm not used to being naked in like my non-bedroom.
So I wasn't ever naked, despite asking, do I need to take my underwear off? So I was never stopped.
Oh, naked. Okay.
And I had just transitioned from a pool, which I was swimming in my trunks, to a dressing gown, to a warm room with a bench on which to lay down and take my dressing gown off. And then I was covered with towels. So,
okay. You're unsettled. You have every reason to, but minutes later, you're naked as the day you were born. Did that bit. Also reflected in the mirror is the screen. Where am I? I've lost ourselves. Against the wall, there is a large mirror. There we go. Now I'm picturing you, Billy Bollock, naked, going, look at it. I don't have a problem with it. Against the wall, there is a large mirror, and in the Chinese robe. God. No. Against the wall, there is a large mirror, and in the Chinese robe, you almost don't recognize yourself. You have been through so much tonight, you almost feel like a different person. I'm slipping my voice. Also reflected in the mirror is the screen, and absently, you admire it. You wonder if you might be able to acquire one for your own room. The brush painting on it depicts a flock of birds above a river chased by a rabbit. Beautiful, you think. Oh, are we just getting started? This is going to be a two-parter, I think, listeners. Tobie, Alice's mum. When the Chinese woman appears, you simply inhale. Goodness, you half shriek. Don't surprise me like that. Sorry, she smiles and reaches past you for your clothes. Oh, where are you taking them? Fire. What? You're going to burn them? She frowns. Burn? You're going to burn them in the fireplace? She shakes her head uncomprehendingly, then pantomimes hanging the clothes up. Ah, you say, you're going to dry them. Fire, the woman nods, and then takes them away. You emerge to sit at the table, and You emerge to sit at the table you first sat at when you came in. The woman comes out and places a mug of piping hot tea in front of you. You expected orange pukey. Oh, again. But it's not that. It's full of green leaves. Oh, Tobie knows I'm a huge matcha fan. I don't think it's but I love it.
This is not matcha.
I love a matcha latte these days. You sigh. This isn't what you're used to, but when in Rome. You take a sip of the brew, and it's simultaneously sweet and bitter. If it makes sense, hints of pennyroyal, you summarize. Maybe barley? You like? The woman asks, coming around again. Yes, thank you, you say. This'll do just fine. You reach into your purse, where you'd keep on your person, and pull out a shilling, which you place on the table. The woman picks it up, then bites it. Oh, you say, surprised. It's quite real, I assure you. Then she slips the whole coin under her tongue and wanders off. You have several more swallows of the green tea, and the first Chinaman comes back. Rudely, he grabs the back of another chair and pulls it up to your table, sitting down uninvited across from you. You try not to bristle at his forwardness. He taps his chest. I am Singh. Well, hello. You extend your hand to the man, and he shakes it. I am Miss Reginald Liddell. I don't think I ever knew Alice's surname or had a surname.
No.
Like in my head, it was Wonderland, I guess. Alice Wonderland. Alice Liddell. I am Miss Reginald Liddell. Why you come? You blink. You nice lady, he says. In my shop. Why? You're unsure what to tell him. Singh is all business all of a sudden, and he, as if he knows more about you than you think. You need help, he asks, one eyebrow raised. You need favor? Yes, you admit. I need help. You tell Singh about Alice, the daft circumstances that led you here to sit in a Chinese gown drinking tea in an opium den. The whole time he watches you carefully nodding, though his English is pidgin. You have the sense that he understands better than he's letting on. Missing girl, Singh can find. You can help me? Maybe find, he shrugs. Is that a yes? Maybe, he says again, infuriatingly vague. Well, I suppose that's better than nothing. If Singh help, you make me favor? A favor? But I can pay you, Mr. Singh, you say, tapping your purse. Singh shakes his head. No money. You make Singh favor. But what sort of favor? You don't like the deal that Singh is trying to strike. The terms are too nebulous for your taste. Singh shrugs. One day, Singh need favor? You do. You look askance at the man. What sort of favors would he be asking for? Mr. Singh, you say, I cannot agree unless I know the particular nature of the favor you will be asking me. As if reading your mind, Singh nods. No sexy, he says. No break law. Well, that clears things up, but you think it's queer that in all this transaction, Singh is trusting that you'll do the thing he asks you in some hypothetical future. But Mr. Singh, you say, what if I agree to your terms now but refuse to do a favor later on? Then you say no, he says, with a small shrug. Singh, go away. Really? It's that simple? The man nods and holds out his hand for you to shake. Tobie, this goes on. I think it might be time to wrap it, though. I don't know. Do you want to make do you want to cliffhanger it? Or do you want the decision now? It's not the most adventurous one because it's basically, do we say yes for his help or no?
Or do we go home?
No. Just yes or no for his terms.
Yes or no to his terms.
Do you want to hold that answer till we come back? But it might be a good few months that you go, I don't want yes to no to what? Well, we might have to backtrack. Sorry, listeners. I thought it might be a simple one. This is going to be a two.
Well, we've died once.
We have died once.
What do you think? Should we pause it now and?
It's a good cliffhanger.
Yeah, it's a good cliffhanger. Let's pause it there. The question was, do I take the deal or not take the deal?
Not the most antagonizing cliffhanger I've ever come across.
If you've listened to this and you've made it this far, give your answers in the comments below.
If we can get this out, yeah.
If we get this out in time, we'll go on what you say.
If only we were like on some sort of live Twitch.
Or leave the deal.
We should try this on a live Twitch. We've already spoken. We've only got 13 fans, but if we could get some audience participation, listeners, thank you for joining us. This has been an absolute blast. I really dug it. I feel like it's kind of a slow one. I hope our energy has been up.
No, it's great. Yeah. I've thoroughly enjoyed our jaunt around Victorian England in the pea super.
Good
Batty man in his
Sherwin Tjia. I'm impressed, and he's done a few others.
It's been very descriptive. I've really enjoyed it, and I felt the presence of the fog.
I Listeners, for us on our side, we're kind of taking a bit of a break, but with the erraticness that episodes go out, you might not actually notice it because sometimes they don't go out for a few months. But it's been a great just over half the year for us here at the Dogged Page Cafe.
It has been really good.
You've had a good one too. We're sort of taking a sort of summer break, I guess. Tobie's daughter's come to stay. He's got summer holidays. I'm off
exactly
that myself.
Yeah, jaunt across. Where is it you're jaunting?
I'm off to Swedenland to do Swedish walking.
That's going to be wonderful.
Maybe come back with a tale or two and a toe missing or some such.
Yes, indeed. So join us then for the reveal of what happens to Alice, his mother.
Can we do better than Dead in a Hole?
Yeah. And what happened to Scott? Hopefully he'll do better than Dead in a Hole. And
this is the sort of thing that ends up on YouTube for like foreboding deaths that happened this year. This podcast, I was joking about being found dead in a hole.
Little did he know he would end up on a documentary on Netflix, True Crime.
If it happens, if it does happen, Tobie, you can capitalise on my death.
I'll exploit it. That's how we're going to get 50 billion viewers.
Listeners. Oh no, we'll just become notorious. Maybe like, I don't know, one of those weird things where in London they'll find like a woman dead in a hole with her daughter, and it's the book. It's like the never-ending story, but a sort of horror. And it's like we have Tobie. There's a lot riding on you making the right decisions.
Oh dear, brilliant, wicked!
Tobie, it has been an absolute blast. Listeners, it's been a blast.
Genuine.
Catch us again soon.
Thank you very much. Join us.
Hey, we're going to wrap it up around there. I want to thank you for listening, and I hope you enjoyed. Join us again next episode, and until then, support your local bookstores, and have a great day.